Hi, my name is Jody Ide, and I am a specialist in the Instructional Supports Department, and I support high school social studies. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about how AI can help social studies teachers in the classroom. So, the title of this bite-sized PD is Unlocking Social Studies with AI, Tools and Techniques for the Classroom. If you would like to follow along in the presentation, you are welcome to type in the bit.ly there at the bottom and follow along on your own computer. So our learning intentions for today are, I am learning about AI tools and resources that can support social studies instruction so that I can save time in my instructional planning. We will know that we have been successful today if at the end of this bite-sized PD, you can use the historical perspective generator to enhance student learning, if you can use the YouTube video generator to make watching YouTube videos more engaging, and if you can use a rubric generator to effectively provide feedback for your students. So let's talk about tool number one. It is called a historical perspective generator. Now, in order to do that or use this tool, you will need to go to teacherserver.com and create a login. It's free. So let me go there. So I have a login already, and so you can see that I'm logged in, and we're going to go to social studies. And what we're going to look at is this historical event perspective generator right here at the top left. So for example, let's say you are teaching sophomores. You're teaching a world history class, and the historic event is World War II. So that would be, if you're in Europe, 1939 to 1945. Now, if you look down here, you have all of these different perspectives that you can choose from. Soldier, civilian, leader, journalist, diplomat, merchant, artist, or other. So let's pull up a leader. Let's generate a response here. So it is just using AI to create this response. It's just taken a minute. So what it does, you can see, is it provides an introduction to World War I, and then it provides a first-person narrative from Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister of the UK. It provides some historical facts and reflection, a reflection from my perspective, so this would be Churchill's. It has some discussion questions, and then it cites primary and secondary sources for further research. It also has some notes for educators. So it says this narrative can be used in the classroom to explore the complexities of World War II from a leader's perspective. So what we could do, let's say we wanted a leader's perspective. It says, do you have any questions or adjustments? Let's type and say, can you provide the same perspective, but from Hitler's view? So I've asked, it's going to think about it. Oh, it says I can't help with that. Writing a narrative from Hitler's perspective could be seen as promoting. Okay, so what I'll just do instead is say, can you provide another leader perspective? Send. So we're just waiting for it to think about that. So this one is from Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Same thing, perspective from him, historical facts and reflection, discussion questions, primary, secondary sources for further research. So if you asked it to do another one, you would probably have 3 different leaders of World War II, and you could have students look at the different perspectives and see what they think about that. Now, if I go back, maybe we're going to go back to 10th grade, and we're going to go to World War II. We're going to go 1939 to 1945. Let's do a soldier's perspective. So it's loading. And what I'm thinking here is you could pick a soldier perspective, a leader perspective, a civilian perspective. So again, introduction to World War II, first-person narrative of a soldier's experience, historical facts in the narrative, reflection on long-term consequences, discussion questions, and then primary and secondary sources. So this is, they're using a lot of sources from, Anne Frank, a historical account of a D-Day invasion by Antony Beevor, and a memoir about surviving a Nazi concentration camp would be Viktor Frankl for further learning and understanding. So I feel like this tool would be fantastic to help students understand other perspectives during a historical time period. So again, you go to teacherserver.com. They have like 160 different tools that you can use here, but I chose the historical perspective generator. So let's take a moment, and I'd like you to think about what standards could you use this with. So let's take some independent time to look at your standards and curriculum and think of ways you could use this tool. So go ahead and pause at this point and take some time to look at that. And when you're ready, hit play. All right, well, welcome back. We are going to now do tool number 2, YouTube video questions. So to do this, you need to go to www.magicschool.ai, and you're going to want to log in with your CSD Docs account. So let's do that. So I'm just going to log in. Looks like I'm already in. And we're going to search YouTube. Okay, we're going to look at this YouTube video questions here. All right. Okay, so let's walk through how we do that. So you're going to go to the YouTube video questions, and it looks like I'm going to tell you how you're going to do that. So let's say you go to YouTube and you want to show a short History Channel blurb about Joseph Stalin. Okay, so let's say we're going to go right here. Okay, so this is just a 4-minute clip. So what we're going to do here is we're going to jump down to 10th grade for world history. Maybe we're going to do some free response. And it's only 4 minutes, so let's do 5 questions. Okay, so now what you're going to have to do is you have to get a transcript. You can't just put the link of the YouTube video. So to get the transcript, you're going to go over here and you are going to, hold on one sec. Pretty sure this is where we go. Download, nope. Thanks for sticking with me on this. Transcript. Okay, so let me go back. It's under the little summary right here. Transcript, show transcript. Okay, so what you're going to do is this is the whole transcript, and you are going to copy all of it. And then we're going to go back and put it here into the Magic School. And based on the transcript, it's going to create questions for you. Okay, so the questions are: describe the significance of Stalin's name change and what Man of Steel signifies in the context of his life. Analyze the impact of Stalin's rise to power after the Russian Revolution. 3, discuss the consequences of Stalin's forced industrialization policies. And then it has the answers with timestamps for you. So the cool thing about this is, we want students to be engaged in their learning, right? And so sometimes just showing a video, you can always say, hey, take notes. But sometimes it's nice to have a few guided questions that you really want them to focus on. And then they can use those answers, turn and talk with a partner, talk with a group, have a whole group discussion. But this is a really great way to use AI to generate these questions, and then you don't have to do it. Okay, so let's go back here. So this is the YouTube video question. So again, what is a standard you could use this with? Take some independent time to look at your standards and curriculum and think of ways you could use this tool. So are there already some YouTube videos that you use, or have you stayed away from maybe showing videos on YouTube because you haven't really known how to make them engaging, or it seemed overwhelming to watch and come up with questions? Okay, so go ahead and pause and think about ways you could use this tool. All right, welcome back. Tool number 3 is a rubric generator. So again, we're in Magic School. That is what this tool looks like. It's called the rubric generator. So we're going to demo a sample 11th grade assignment. So there's the standard or objective. Students will analyze primary and secondary sources through the historical thinking skills, sourcing, contextualization, cooperation, and close reading. So the assignment task is students will be given 5 different history documents related to World War II, and will analyze those documents using the historical thinking skills of sourcing, contextualization, cooperation, and close reading. Okay, so let's try this out. So I'm going to go ahead and go back, and instead of the YouTube, we're going to put in the rubric generator. So I'm just going to type in rubric, and here's the rubric generator. Okay, so this is 10th grade. I think since there's 5 documents, maybe we'll do 5. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here with you, modeling how you might be thinking about this. I'm going to go ahead and take the objective and put it into the standard objective, and here is the assignment description. So I'm going to go ahead and take the assignment description, and I'm going to put that here. Okay. Additional customization for rubric, that's optional. Let's just see what it comes up with. So this is what it came up with: a rubric for analyzing World War II historical documents using historical thinking. So for sourcing, could they accurately identify the author, date, and origin of all 5 documents? Explains author's perspective and purpose deeply and insightfully. Okay, that's excellent. Proficient is identifies the author, date, and origin of most documents. So maybe that would be 4 or above. Explains author's perspective and purpose clearly. This is some documents here. This is a few documents. And you can see how they divide it up for you. Now, maybe you didn't like this. Maybe you want to change it to a different point scale. So maybe we could say, could you change it to a 10-point scale? So they did that. A 10-point scale probably isn't great for a rubric, but I just wanted to show you that there is the option to talk to it and have it adjust things for you. So if you don't like that, you could say, can you change it to a 3-point scale? Maybe you realized, I went the wrong direction here. So this is more meets expectations, approaching expectations, and needs improvement. Now, you can just copy this and put it into, Canvas or into a paper document for grading. But this is a great way to create a rubric to provide feedback for your students. All right. So next, what is a standard that you could use with this rubric generator? Or are there some assignments that you've been meaning to come up with a rubric on and it just has seemed too overwhelming, or you just haven't had time? So take some independent time to look at your standards and curriculum and think of ways you could use this tool. And when you are done, pop back on. All right, welcome back. Let's review our learning intentions. I'm learning about AI tools and resources that can support social studies instruction so that I can save time in my instructional planning. The success criteria was, I can use the historical perspective generator to enhance student learning. I can use the YouTube video generator to make watching YouTube videos more engaging, and I can use the rubric generator to effectively provide feedback for my students. I hope that maybe if you don't use all 3 of these AI tools or resources, you might maybe find one that you feel like, hey, this is something that I could do this next week with my students. And I hope that it helps you save time, and I hope that it helps your students be more engaged in your class. Thanks so much.